Alright, welcome to another edition of Bob's KGS series. Wow, that was pretty loud. I hope it's not that loud for you. No, it is not Velcon. I'm going to be playing, oh, I'm going to be playing somebody who's going to be re-logging in. I have a friend from Russia who I've met on the KGS server, and he came to me with this idea. He said, well, why don't we play an even game, and we'll go ahead and you'll get to talk through what a 6K does and how everything goes, and it'll be profitable for everyone. So I decided that seems like a pretty cool idea. And he just said that he wants me to have a God game. So apparently he wants me to play Kamenoite. Okay, so the basic idea is I'm going to be talking through this game, and in case you haven't seen or heard already or noticed the sound quality difference, I do have a microphone. I got one for Christmas, or semi Christmas present from my dad. He just gave me one when he learned that I do casts online. But then on impulse, I was buying a DVD player for my wife, and I decided to get a new microphone. And I think it's fantastic. When I hear the sound quality, it's so much different. So I'm really glad that I did that. Okay, so we can look at this. His original approach here was saying, maybe I'll be developing the bottom. And with this move, he's kind of saying the bottom's going to be low. So he's going to pull back here. I think I want to stay solid here because I want to make sure that this is, if he decides to play something like P4 or O4, I wanted to have the ability to come in more easily. Okay, now this is very solid, and I would probably call it just a little bit slow. I think following up over here, considering that black had Sente, is the better move, because now I can either pincer this, or if he backs off, then I will get Sente. And we can say direction-wise, I have a low stone here, and he has a high stone here. So that means a pincer's not a good idea, because that says the top side is not as important as the left. But we can see the left side has the ability for both me and my opponent to develop. So the question is, do I want to play low and settle the top side, make the top side less important, or do I want to play high and make the top side more important? If I make the top side more important, I'm going to have to play another move to protect it, because it would make something that he could play there very, very big. But I kind of want to get this move in on the bottom. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to play here, try to get Sente. I'm already limiting this Shimari, and it's a Shimari, or a corner enclosure off of a 4-4 stone, which means there's huge amounts of Aji in the corner. So everything's pretty okay so far. Now, how do we attack the bottom? Well, we're thinking about profit. We're thinking about what is it that I can do while that F3 stone tries to live, and how do I make it hard for it to live at the same time? So what I'm thinking about is, if I get a stone here and then I get a stone here, they're going to work very well together. You'll notice that that expands off of this. This is one of the big moves off of this type of Joseki. It's one of the follow-ups. So I'll be very natural playing this move to develop something in the center, some strength in the center, and keep his position low if I can pincer this stone. Now, if I pincer him, he's got a lot of Aji in the corner. And it's not that the Aji is going to go away, but I'm translating the Aji to a different place. I'm going to kick him and say F3 will not live in the corner. It doesn't mean that he can't live in the corner. He can still live in the corner just about as easily as he could have before. In fact, maybe more easily. Oh, not more easily than just having the F3 stone. It, it just changes the Aji. It could be easier, it could be harder, depending on um, what the surrounding stones become during this fight with the F3 stone becoming alive. And I can play here, I can play here. I think that this is the better move locally with the F4 stones. This move is kind of a little bit better with this, but this move isn't going to be bad once you have N4. So I think that I'm going to play the locally better move. So this just says, hey, you're not getting a base here. You're going to have to run out into the center, and during that time I can play something to kind of make a little bit of a framework, and then maybe jump up here and I'm starting to develop a large area, or maybe even go crazy and just play like this. Now thus far I think he's played pretty well. I don't think that he's made any major mistakes. Possibly not following up here was a mistake. Yeah, I could say that, but it's not a huge mistake, and it could be considered a style issue. Um, I do think that once I let me see what happened. Once I protected here, that was most likely Sente, considering how much strength I can get in the center this way. So I think that not protecting the F3 stone was um, maybe a mistake. Okay, so C3 says, what's going on in the corner? It doesn't say, I'm going to live in the corner. It says, will you let me live in the corner? How hard is it going to be to live in the corner? What's more important to you? So C3 is kind of slightly a standard probe. It's not something you want to play every time, but professionals play it quite often. They'll just say, hey, what's going on here? Before I go out and make these stones live, what are my follow-ups back here? Things like that. And so I think that considering I want to attack the F4 stones, I'm going to let him live. Now here's what we can say. Now that he's made this exchange, E2 for C3, when he jumps out, or if he decides to jump out, it's going to be easier for me to come back and say, okay, now I can kill off that stone. He's decided to live in the corner. This is if he would have jumped out, is what I'm talking about. Easier for me to come back and say, okay, I want to kill that stone off because I left this Aji behind. By playing E2, I say, hey man, take the corner, it's all yours. And if he doesn't take it, then C4, or coming back to kill off that stone in some way, has a lot of value because it strengthens this group and takes territory. So first things first, I kind of don't want to get separated right now. If I want to attack these F4 stones, I can't get separated. And if I play this, I'm going to get separated. And this also says the left side is important, which we know it's not because of C11. So I think what I can do is just play back here. He has to pull back like this, and then I can turn if I want to. Or I can play something like this, or even a cap. Getting another move on these F4 stones, F3 stones is going to be really good. But getting another move in the corner, this is interesting. I think that the corner just got killed off. I could play on the outside. He could pull back and then I could connect. That's the solid, super solid way, but there's nothing to do with those outside stones. So I'd rather he have the outside stones because his position's still going to be low. If he cuts directly, then I just play like this. And so he's captured. Just like this. He can even play down, I'll play down. Now this Hane is something that I might have to not so much worry about, but actually think about in terms of Aji. Boom. but once I play here and he connects back, it's not really all that much of a problem. However, um, I really want to be able to come in here, and I don't mind if he plays another move to fix it. But before I come in there, almost assuredly I'm going to have to play some kind of move here to fix my shape. So I might as well do it now. Because if I were to play something like c9 and he extends, he's threatening to capture these two stones, and that's going to make this group completely, basically my position would fall apart. So now I'm thinking about changing what I was going to do. J4 was going to be a lean on the center type move. Now I'm thinking it's going to be secure the bottom type move. And obviously I still have follow-ups like this I can do, but he can jump out now. Um, but I don't think the center is very important with the D8 stone there, and it's more important that these F3 stones stay weak. Obviously they're not dead yet. See, he can make them live. Um, they will live. There's no way to kill those stones off. But I did a lecture. It was a 15-minute little demo while I was waiting for Volcon. He was getting a teaching game, and then he waited for me for like another 30 minutes after that, which was really cool of him to do. My family needed McDonald's stat. It was a do or die situation. The boys were going hunger busters on everything, and um, there were some strawberries that had I think we only had them for a couple of days, but they got some mold on them, and Zeke was just trying to get into the strawberries. They were just like, whatever I can eat is good. I'm good with that. And so at that point I was like, and my wife's stressed out and all kinds of stuff going on, and so I was like, okay, honey, well, let me fix that. So I went to McDonald's real quick after that lecture. But I talked in my lecture about something that I like to call quantum groups. And basically, quantum groups are the groups that are potentially alive. For instance, there's something over here for either white or black, and even if white or black gets a stone in that area of the board, it's still going to be available. Um, for the other person to come in. Like if let's say black gets this move here, then white could even invade here. Or if black gets this, then white has this. There's still going to be potential in this area. So quantum groups represent the potential living groups on the board. And the idea is whenever your opponent makes a real group, try to kill off a potential group. In other words, make every attack a splitting attack. And the question is, as of right now, is there any way to really do that? Um, and the answer I think is yes, because K3 is a weakness, and being a weakness, it is um, something that can start to become a group. Also, H3 is a shape point for him. So if I can play H3, I'm threatening to connect up with these stones if I play F2, and I'm taking away the potential of this real group to live while also starting to lay claim to any potential group here. So as of right now, I think that's probably the best move. And that's kind of like the base for both sides issue. The stronger your groups are, the stronger your potential groups are. Any quantum group on the board, in other words, some kind of crazy invasion that you're trying to figure out if you can do, is way more likely to work if it has somewhere to run to. But if it's going to be running to something, then your opponent is going to try to use that to surround whatever that something is and destroy it. So it has to be strong. So when you have strong groups, you also tend to have strong quantum groups, potential. If you have weak groups, you don't have anywhere to invade, because if you have another weak group running across the board, they're going to get a wall, and then they're going to ram your other weak group into it, and then you're going to have to invade somewhere else that they just built up, and eventually you're going to die somewhere. Um, Now, I would say that if justice were perfect, you would die somewhere. It is not always the case that you will, and that is one of the sad realities in Go and life, that people get away with things that they shouldn't. And maybe I shouldn't get so mad about it, because I do get mad when that happens. But really, I mean, there's nothing you can do about it. You made a mistake. That's the only thing you can say is, hey, I made a mistake. So there's nothing wrong with somebody taking advantage of a mistake, even if they played bad moves before. The move that you made was a mistake. So, I mean, what are you going to do in order to let them live? I mean, you had to have made a mistake. Okay, so what I'm going to do, because this area is pretty secure, I'm going to make it more secure. We got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, maybe 20, 25 points at most, even once he begins to build, because he's probably going to Hane here. This E7 move is pretty huge, um, but I didn't want to use it until he backed off. Now I can come here and extend and then take some of his territory away, so he's got to protect. And I think what I'll do here is I'll just make sure he doesn't get the ability to connect up. When I strengthen this, I weaken this, and I weaken everything else that he can do. And he may decide that this is okay, which potentially for right now it is. But you will see that, I mean, these two stones being saved is worth about 5 points. Um, I mean, I could do this here. I mean, this H17 is actually a pretty good move. Um, I don't want to pincer quite yet. Maybe I should. Because if I get into a running fight, maybe I should pincer not so tightly. Hmm. Actually, this group is real solid. I can lean on this. Once I've leaned on this area, I can lean on this with impunity. If he jumps straight out, I can even connect underneath at H18, um, which I'm going to do. He can make a living group under here, but I've got a wall now, and when I start to play moves like this, or, you know, in this area, he's going to start having to run towards that wall eventually. So that's not going to be very good for him. He's been playing relatively well, though, especially for a 6K. He's not trying anything crazy. I would say that I would not have Tanuki'd this group. I would at least play something H11, or maybe something like this, or at least H10. I mean, H10 looks... It's not that it's a bad move. It's just I wouldn't be as attached to this group in a whole sense. I would be more light with it than all of that. Hmm. So now the question is, should I play this or should I play this? Actually, I think it's a no-brainer. Because he can try to cut, But he's not going to be able to cut until this is secure. And if he connects, then I can connect here, and he's pushing me from behind on the second line to try to make shape, to try to make life. And as he's pushing me, whatever this cut will be will go from ladder, or from cut to ladder to net. And when these stones get strong enough, I won't be cut anymore, which I think he's going to have to make those stones stronger. I would say that's his first serious mistake of the game. This it's not even ko, but when you have the opportunity to play ko, play it and then respond. Because in order to actually even begin this fight, he's going to have to find a ko threat. And all of my ko threats are actually the fight itself that he's going to have to fight while maintaining this ko, the status ko, as they might say if they were as funny as me. So if he can't do that, I mean, if he can't win the ko, or he can't win the fight, then I'm definitely going to respond to that. But the reason I'm going to respond is that is a fake ko threat, and there's two things about it. This connect under with this move now does not work at all, because he took away his Atari option. So that makes this stone stronger. And I mean, the question is, do I even need to resolve that ko? I think what I'm going to do is force here, because I'm starting to see this group is becoming globally surrounded. So I kind of want to disconnect here. I've got an attachment to follow up, but he may ignore that for now. And I don't think the follow-up, I mean, it's really submissive for him to have to pull back here, but I don't think it's severe enough yet. Just this stone makes it, you can see now, as opposed to a black stone being here, there's a white stone here, and that's making him be a little bit more behind enemy lines. I steal that from Batusai. Anytime I say enemy lines, that's probably trademarked, and I'm going to get sued. He did disconnect these two groups, though. But what I'm going to do now, this area, because this stone is out, this area is kind of becoming mine. And it's not many points, but ooh. There's some interesting stuff here. If he descends here, I push, he plays here, and I go here, or this way, he's going to get to cut off this one stone. Ooh, he doesn't even get to do that. Well, now I don't have to worry about this at all. I've picked up quite a few points, and he's got to make shape in the center again, or these stones are going to come under fire at one point. So if we talk about territory, he has this left side, which is about 20 points. He has 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, and then he has this. This is a probe. This says, where's the algebra? Is it on this side? Because now I have this attachment, and if he hanes on the outside, I can pull back, he connects. So he has to play kind of a submissive move there. Let me see. Okay, I think it's time to follow this up, and then I get to cap here. Because these stones are so close to here, I mean, you could play something like this or like this to fix the wall, but this is such a heavy attacking move. If I get another move on that, I'm going to start to surround this entire area of the board. So it's okay for me to ignore that for right now. Pretty good shape, but I get to keep going. And building off against these stones, 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth line, I'm getting pretty good territory here by developing. He's kind of wrecking this territory. Or he's trying to. He plays much better than most 6Ks. And I've actually seen that in some of the games that we've played. He doesn't like to play with handicap, I think. And it's actually, I mean, it may be one of the factors that's improving his game so much. But we do kind of have to start counting here. Because, I mean, it just keeps on looking like he's grabbing a lot of stuff. So I get Comey. That's good. But let's count him. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. Okay. I'm still building up this area, so I don't mind a move like this. Now, if he decides to come into this area, it could get wild and woolly for him. This would be on the hair edge of overplay. This is a reduction move. I mean, it's not perfect because I get to follow up this once I'm done with this, but I think I need to defend this area first. So let me see. He pushes, I hane, he hanes, I cut, and we're getting into a weird fight. I play this, it looks submissive. I play this, he hanes, I pull back, he connects, I play here. I could do this. If he hanes inside though, I cut, he pushes, and then pushes again, then I Atari, then I can pull back, or I get a Panuki here, so he's got a weak group. I think I'm going to do this. I mean, you can see he's taking territory everywhere. And then he's going to say, wherever you want territory, we're just not going to let that happen. Which is, it's not my favorite way of playing. A lot of people really like it for one reason or another. Um, but this shape is solid. He might be able to connect up here. Okay, so counting. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 19. So he's got, let's say, 20 points here, 15 here, so that's 35. Plus another, what, 20? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10. 2, 3, 4, 5. So he's got 25 points here. So 25 plus 15 is 40, plus another 20. He's got 60 points. And so I need to make 60 points with Comey. Here. Atari, nothing. I think that this area is my territory. Okay, so we've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So let's say 15 here. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Let's say 15 here, so that's 30. Um, Anytime you see this, I think it's 10, so that's kind of 8, but I'll call it 10, 20, 30, 35, 45-ish. Okay, so he's alive here. He's made that very clear. Here's the only other weak group I have on the board. And he is quite strong in every place that he is. So this is strong. This is strong. So I want to make this strong so that I can't get killed. I don't like that. I don't like being killed or attacked or anything like that. Most people would say, hey man, that's greedy. You know, why don't you get killed? Why don't you get attacked? Why don't you give all the points to your opponent? I mean, why do you gotta have all the points? Uh, but I see that as, you know, against the everything. It's really just not, you know, I don't know. I was trying to make a joke, but it's not even funny. It's like, are you serious? Okay, so I could descend here, which is really, really, really big. This is really big as well, but I think, I mean, that he can come in here and start to think about connecting up to these stones. Whether or not he can do that, it would be pretty annoying. And when I play here, I open up Samaji here, which isn't enough to live, but I'm gonna, well, let me see. This is side, this is corner. Honestly, I do think that this is bigger. You know what? And there's shape issues here too, so if he plays this, I can just push in and play this maybe, and then he can Hane under, and then I can Atari here. Okay. So, because he can't push until he's already done this. Okay. So I've taken this area, and I'm starting to grab some of this. Like if I play this, he has to push, and then I play this. Okay. That got my attention. But I think it's an overplay. Well, I mean, I think it's dead, is what it is. So like I can play this and then just connect here, and or I could just play under. That seems so passive. It's kind of like, yeah, reduce me. You know what? I'm going to do this. Because no matter what he can do, I can push through now. And that's actually cut, Atari, this. So that's actually really, really big. All I have to do is survive with these stones. Which, you know, I mean, they could be dead. I don't know. I feel like I got enough liberties. When he connects here, though, oh, okay. Good enough. Good enough. He could not allow me to do that. Good move. Pretty good. He's going to get a couple more points here. I mean, I really do feel like I'm ahead, but at the same time, I mean, he's been playing a relatively good game the whole game. So, yeah, see, he's hitting all the big points. He can play Atari here and then play up here and then I'll Atari. If he plays here, I Atari. Yeah, everything's fine. Everything is good. Everything's gonna be alright. I don't know if you guys watched the Super Bowl, but there were all these commercials throughout the entire Super Bowl that were, um, I mean, they were just. There were some good commercials, but they were on the internet like 10 days before the Super Bowl. I've seen them already. I've seen all of them multiple times. Ooh, I should have backed off here, because now this is Sente, and this is Defte. It's like a, yeah, I don't know what Defte is, like a Death Star move, like a move the Emperor would make. And now, young Jedi, you will die. Okay, something I gotta do like this, because I gotta see if I can cut into that area. See if I can cut into that area. You know, I think it would be a nightmare giving this guy 6 stones. His game is solid. I don't know if he's really 6K. I mean, I've noticed he's been getting better every time I play him. I think he used to be like 9K when I met him. What was that, June of last year? He was 9K. Yeah. See, he's been getting better and better and better. He's not 6K in strength, and you guys might have noticed that as well. He's really pretty strong. He really is. This is Sente for him and for me, so it's very, very big. Um, let me see. Is it big enough to play versus this? I don't think so. But him getting that, oof, should have backed off here. Shape, 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 shape. Shape on you. Okay, this move. He's got Atari, 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 connect, and nothing. This is going to be Sente for him. But let's read that again. Atari, 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 connect. I've got 1, 2 liberties, and he's got 2 liberties, but he can't Atari me. So the only thing I gotta do is make sure that this has enough liberties. So I'm gonna go ahead and do something over here, which is, I mean, that's just good go. Anything that you need to have the right amount of liberties for, um, go ahead and play things around it that can get cut off and give you less liberties, because good go is power go. You know, listen, I don't care. My groups have 1 extra liberty always. Always. You know what? That bump here too, I can just pull back. Maybe that's a whole facet of my game. That's, I mean, this P1 move being Sente versus not even being able to play Q1. I mean, that's That's a lot of endgame. That's a lot of endgame. And if I'm doing that repeatedly every game, that's, I mean, I'm not good at counting, but this is at least 6 points in Sente swing. Because if I pull back, I lose 1 point. We can say that already. Maybe I lose a little bit of extra influence to the center. But if I don't have any reason to play this, I should play back because this is now my Sente, and it's worth, I don't know. Somebody knows how many points that's worth. There's like a guy in the, Professional Go Association vault who's studied all that stuff. And you guys are probably laughing at me, but I don't know how to count end game moves. I don't know how to count middle game moves. You've seen me. Every time I try to count the position, I get distracted. I haven't been able to successfully add up black score and white score the entire game. And some of you guys have already probably seen that and been like, hey, Bob, you tried to count before? You remember that? You remember when you were trying to count and you didn't? Yeah, that was funny. This throw-in makes him have less liberties here, so he's going to have to do this eventually. It's a good move. This is my Sente, so I get to Atari here. I know how to play good moves, mostly. I get to Atari here. And I'm thinking I'm going to do this. Because now I can connect up all my stones, and he can't play F2 and make all that crazy stuff where he can Hane here or Atari here or this or that or whatever. I just get to take this whole hog. I'm better at comparing areas. This area is bigger than this one. This area is bigger than this one. This area is about the same size as this one, and he's got this one left over, which fits into this extra space pretty nicely. So I'm ahead by about 25 points. But this guy, I mean, if he keeps on playing like this, if this is his normal style, he's not gonna be 6K for very long. He's good. He's good. And maybe it's possible because I'm the same way. He might just be good against reasonable people, and people who want to be unreasonable and just kill you everywhere and bury the body of your stones in a great vault in the desert. Um, it's sometimes it's hard to play against that type of person. I need to play something like this because this is way Sente now. Because I made it that way. I said, hey, would you like to have a Sente move here? So I need to get this because reverse Sente and double Sente are the two biggest moves that you can get easily. This was a little bit of a mistake by him. I mean, it doesn't lose anything, but it doesn't gain anything either. See, even when he Hane's here, I can play there, and there's nothing there. I hope. I hope. So now I can capture these stones. He plays there, which is the way to make sure that he is taking everything. I'm like the Robin Williams of Go. I speak in funny voices, and the only problem is, I mean, the difference between us, aside from the fact that he got kicked out of Juilliard and I got kicked out of UT, the difference is he's actually good at the voices. I'm good at making fun of myself when I try to do the voices. But I wouldn't say I have good accents. I have good attempts at accents from time to time. Like every once in a while, I feel like I'll hit a really nice Irish or Scottish accent, you know? Uh, like, I'm not going to stand around and let you do that, Johnny. And that's pretty much all I can say in Scottish, though. No, actually, one time I pretended I was a Scottish dragon tamer. Um, it was fun because my wife and I worked at a national park, and as part of our training, we had to develop a tour for something, and we decided to do it on a dragon conservatory. And I was the dragon trainer or tamer or a handler or something like that, and I had one arm because of Johnny the dragon, and it was a lot of fun, and everybody really liked the accent and the dragons, they have fiery tempers. It's not just that they speak with fire, but they do everything with fire. You better stay away from them if they're angry, because the next thing you know, they're just trying to, maneuver their way past the argument, and suddenly you've got a scorched beard. So, I I had a lot of fun with that, and apparently the guys who were around there had a lot of fun because they kept asking me to do that at different times for the rest of the year. Um, well, maybe only one other time. But to me, they were thinking about it every day. Okay, so I cannot play this. I have to play this. Always make sure when you're about to connect a stone to another group of stones that this one stone liability will not be death for its compatriots. There's the Marine Code, never leave a man behind, and there's the Stone Code, never leave a working stone behind. But it's not always the case that a certain stone is going to be a working stone. Um, yeah, I mean, we're in Yose here. That's why I haven't been commenting as much on the game itself and more just saying stuff. But again, I just want to reiterate. I mean, this guy's a pretty solid player. I think if he had 6 stones, I would have no chance. And I've seen him improving, so I know he's not a sandbagger. But he is definitely, in my opinion, stronger than 6K right now. He's got a lot going for him. Question: do I play this? Answer: definitely not, because he can counter Atari here and then play this. So if I want to do that, I've got to do this, which means I've really gained nothing because I played one on the outside, one on the inside. I'll just play one on the inside when he Atari's there, and I'll be good to go. Atari, 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 connect. This has 3 liberties, and this has 2 liberties. And yeah, as of right now, it's still good. This I can do, though. I can handle this bad shape. It's a really nasty shape, but I'm so alive here that I can handle it. I'm glad I've gotten into the habit of reading things like, what about this? Because, I've got this. Because I used to be like, that's fine, I'll just play this. And then he Ataris me here, and I'm like, like asthma. It's like, and then I just feel so bad for myself. I wallow in pity, and, I'm really good at that. I'm actually like a 10th Dawn wallower. When you're talking about pity and wallowing in it, I'm very good. There's not a single person that I know that's better at it, honestly. Um, like if I lose a game and I'm like, that guy, I should have totally won that game. The next thing you know, I'm just like crying in a corner, like, ooh, oh, that was loud. Let me see. He's gonna have to play here. So that's a 1 point mistake by our friend the 6K. But overall, a very, very good game. Um, very, very good. Just solid. Um, I don't see him being 6K for very long. I see him getting stronger. Okay, so I win by, yeah, 20, 26, 25. What is that? 34? Oh, yeah, 30. That's right. Okay. So 34 points. Good game. Let me just tell MX what's going on. Okay. MX Hero says, "Hello, world." They all say hello. I'm assuming you would say hello. Um, okay, so let me just clarify. MX is really good. He's a very, very good teacher. Very unorthodox with a lot of the ways that he thinks about things, but very, very good. Okay, Valcon, you don't mind if I just talk on the stream, do you? Actually, I can do both. I have a teaching account, so I can do this. Can you hear me, Valcon? Okay, I'm not going to be asking you any questions or anything. I would normally do that if it was like a teaching game, but I'm just going to stream. But are you on Twitch TV, or should I do it? Should I just talk through KGS as well? Okay, I'll keep it on here, and we'll just go through the game. Oh, first thing I want to say, man, you are getting stronger. Because I remember we played when you were like 9K or 8K or 10K even maybe, and you're not 6K right now. You're at least 3 stones stronger than that. You're 4K, 3K. Pretty cool. It's good to watch you improving and seeing you get better and better. Okay, so far, yeah, dude, you made some crazy invasions, and most of them almost worked, or one of them almost worked, which was when the game ended. But a lot of them did work, and I was like, how could he possibly invade here? Um, so yeah, you were always creative, and now your game is really solid, which is it's pretty awesome to watch. Um, so I would say the first possible mistake, it may not even be a mistake. It could be a style choice, but I don't think R14 is as big as C6 because this D4 stone and the F3 stone is already strong because it has O3 backing it up. I don't think that it's very. I think that that would be the first mistake when you're talking about already having a strong position. The best thing to do is pincer against it. And yeah, I do have this, but I mean it is big too because it's kind of like when you play R14 because this R14 for white is almost Sente. It becomes a reverse Sente, but C6 being Sente, yeah, and this is big, but I don't think it's as big as C6. That's why I'm saying mistake, not maybe not mistake. Could be a style choice, but I think most professionals would either play C6 or D4 or D6 because now the white stone has to do something. Like let's say now you play R14 or I play R14, you can just play this. And now if I do this, you can do this and then take Sente again. And now what? You're developing the entire lower half plus the left half of the board. Um, it's pretty big, pretty big. And if you get another move in here eventually, I mean, this is just a humongous framework. It's just you're developing too fast, and I can't let D4 get surrounded like that. That's pretty much my influence on the lower left part of the board, and I just let it get sealed in. So it's much bigger to answer down here. And if I'm fighting you, then you may get Sente at the end of the fight and be able to go back and play this. So that's always a good thing. So I just thought it was a little smaller. It wasn't a huge deal, but I do think that this was a mistake. And the reason is, after this happens, this F3 stone is really weak. And after this kick and pincer, I've got two different things I can do. And going in the quarter was a pretty good idea. Losing the corner was probably another mistake. You've got to pull back here, and then I'll maybe turn and you get to play this, and then I'll maybe do this. Something will happen, but you can live in this corner, and being able to lose that corner once you've already decided to go into it, I don't know. But the C4 was the real mistake there, because you can play this, and then once I've done something, you can always come back here later. So you can always come back and take this corner back. So the main thing was you played C4 when you could play B3. And once I've played something like this, I've got to come back and protect here. Yeah, you did misread. And I thought that that was probably what it was. So that first, this misread here was a mistake. And I decided to fix my shape because I want to either A, come in here, which you prevented, or B, attack the F4 stones, which, because you prevented the left side, now I get to do that. And so a couple of mistakes here. Some of them were more misread, but I think the approach at C14 wasn't as big as protecting the bottom. So we get into a fight, and you're doing a pretty good job keeping ahead and keeping your stone safe. And you noticed, okay, here this was a pretty big error. You said that you wanted the center with H15, and then G18 says, forget the center. I want to live really small on the bottom, because it's very, and it could be just you haven't seen this very much, but the standard shape is just this kind of thing. But what you need to do here is play this, because now you can play this, and if I do this, you can play here and do that, and I have to protect. I have a lot of cutting points here, actually. Or if I play this, same thing. And now this actually ends in Sente for you, so you can go back and maybe try and cut or something like that. But the whole idea at the beginning was, this says center, I say therefore I go low, and then you say no, you can't do that either. So in Go, if you get one thing, then I get the other one. Otherwise, well, it's not fair, you know. And in kindergarten, we always learn to share. So when you decide not to share, you end up losing out more, because the H15 stone is now really weak, and so you got a bunch of problems in this area. So I took this Ko. This might have been slow by me. Tanuki, actually. Or this. Or you could even try something like this to try to get these stones working. But my thought is, because C14 is low, this is more like, hey, Q16, you've got some kind of follow-up like this that starts to develop this area. or something like this, or like this, that's starting to get into the center and getting some thickness and some strength in the center. But once you've already jumped out, another thing you can do is when white plays this, you've already forced my position low. You exchanged h15 for h18, right? So once you say that you've done that, okay, you made me play a move on the second line. If h15 forces white to play a move on the second line, we can say that it's already done its job, and we can say that stone is now a light stone. I don't care what happens to it, as long as I get some other value from it later, it's going to have done all the job that it needs to do. So you could even do a complete tanuki and go like this. Okay, cool. Alright, so taking the ko might have been slow, but I wanted to make sure he didn't have any aji with h15. And he didn't take the ko back. I thought he was going to be playing a ko fight. And I didn't want to play this because he might just say, I don't care, and just allow me to make this little forcing move here. So I fixed this, and you can see in a general sense you're starting to get this kind of soft global surround going. This black group is in the middle of a whole sea of white, although it's a very, very big sea, so it's not like it's about to get killed. But L6, anything over in this area fixing this group is very, very good. So it was good to think about that. And now I got to take away a little bit of points from you and solidify my group, which is good. And I'm not sure exactly what it would have happened, but my idea was, if something like this happens, I've got a cut here. And now maybe I can do this. Because if you Atari, then I do this, then this, you got to connect, then I can play this. So now black got captured in the corner, so that cut becomes viable if you try to do something like this, which means all you can do is play this, and now I can do something like this, and I get really, really nice strength, and this cap starts to look really good. Because or maybe even this might be an overplay, but you know, some kind of really, really nice attack. But just leaning on that group was really good. Right. Wait, you mean big groups can be killed or cannot be killed? Because in Korea they say, oh, okay, the Korean proverb is, big groups cannot be killed. Dragons always live. So that's why Koreans are so territorial. They're like, hey, I'll just make a dragon later. You know. I think you need to have like a total of 4 dragons in Korean proverb in order to die. So this was really good. K9 and M10 working to make sure your group was strong. But of course, getting the H10, J11, and M12 stones is really, really, really good for white. So white's obviously ahead because of that. I'm not that good. Well, my dragons die often enough, I'll tell you that much. So, I was thinking you might try something like this, and that's really a tough move to fight against, but it's also a tough move for you because I've got the ability to start trying to poke out your shape points. And if I can poke them out, then we've got a fight between potentially two weak groups. So I think that this was a pretty good move. The only thing that I would say is whether it works or not, you've got to do something crazy here because white is just gaining a lead. So uh, your game was calm and solid from start to finish, but in my opinion, it's better to start some kind of crazy fight and just die somewhere, because if you lose by half a point or 100 points, it's really the same loss. And it's not saying go start crazy fights all the time, but when you realize you're behind, start doing things that are either going to catch you up or get you farther behind. Because getting you farther behind isn't going to hurt you, and catching up obviously will help you. So at the point where you're going to lose anyway, you gotta find some chance to win or a place to resign. That's a lot of strong players. They say, "Oh, he's finding a place to resign." No, you're not too passive. I think your game is really nice. Overall, it's calm and solid, and you might have been a little bit slow in a couple of areas, and you might have misread a couple of times, but your idea of where the vital points are, where you need to, play, what's the weak groups, is very, very strong. It's stronger than 6K. So I would say that tactically, um, you might have a problem with people who fight a lot. I don't know if that's the case, but that would be the place where you might improve your game. Strategically, you do very, very well. You have a good sense of what to protect. You protected this center group. Most 6Ks would have left it and then it would have died. And you only had to leave it one or two more moves and it would have died. But you protected it at exactly the right time. The one thing I might say is seeing far enough ahead to see that group might get attacked, like the J10, K11, and M12 stones, and protecting it before it got attacked might be like one more step of thinking, like, hey, that's a weak group. It's going to live, but I need to make sure it's not going to get attacked. And if it does get attacked, can white build up a lot of area? But, it's hard when you're behind to start thinking, okay, I need to do something crazy, because you feel like, oh, if I try something crazy, I'm going to lose the game. And the answer is, yeah, you might do that. You might lose the game if you do something crazy, but you will definitely lose the game unless you do something crazy. And that's the time when it's justified to just go all out and just do something, just even if it's completely ridiculous. Who cares? You know? Okay, so this was, I don't know if I would call it the ridiculous thing that I just mentioned. It's more fun too, most definitely. I think that this would have died this way if I read it correctly. Yeah, because I've got the extra liberty here. But yeah, so playing there was good. Yeah, it does die. I thought it died, but I was curious enough to watch it at the end of the game. I might have even made some and this was a mistake by white. Playing R11 should be here, because this looks like it loses a point, but it actually gains, because now this is Sente for white, and making that Sente for white is pretty big. It's instead it was Sente for black, so I changed it. I said, no, I don't want Sente. I want you to have Sente. Isn't that nice? Aren't I a nice player? Okay, so T6 was not Sente, which means that you should have left that for, well, it's Gote for me as well. Definitely should have left that, but that's a misread. That's like, usually you think that's going to be Sente. Most players would protect that, but if you read it out, it works for white. It does leave this, though. You should have gotten this immediately, because now your shape is a little bit better. and I ended up getting it later in the game. So this is yose. I mean, white's already ahead, but let's see. And your yose was really good as well. I don't have much of a problem with your game overall. You don't do anything crazy. You don't try to live in places you shouldn't or anything like that. Which I think before that is what you did, and you've eliminated that from your game, which is really good. Um, no, I think that if you keep playing the way you do, you're not going to stay 6K for long. Definitely. But it was really great playing with you. And everybody on YouTube or elsewhere in internet land, very gracious that you would deign to watch my little game of Go here. Um, I hope that there's something that I can maybe teach. And if you guys have anything that you saw in this game that either one of us missed, feel free to put it in the comments. If you like the sultry sounds of my voice through this new microphone, feel free to let me know. And don't ask me to email you pictures of myself or anything, because that's kind of creepy. But you can like my voice, you know. And I do have a good body too, so. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this version. Hey, no problem, Valcon. Thank you very much for volunteering. I think this was a really good idea, and I hope a lot of people have good things to say about it. Maybe we'll do it again sometime. Okay, everybody, thank you very much, and y'all have a great day.